Woohoo.
Morning, John.
Good morning.
Pretty good.
Hmm?
Saw that when I first came out, that engine was sitting out there and burning. I thought, see that in maybe this afternoon. This morning we're on a cover several things. We're going to look at poultices. And I'll look at the juice. What are typical poultices used in this area? Okay. A poultice is something that you put on the body, like a potato poultice, an onion poultice, a charcoal poultice. What kind of poultice is used in this area?
Yeah. There's people that use plantain,
Okay.
and I
Number one poultice.
know people use onion poultices around here, garlic poultices. Apparently Yuli knows how to do a Devil's Club poultice,
Yes.
but I don't know how that works.
Bringing some items in today for us to work with, so I'm excited about that. When I went to Sweden a couple months ago, they said, when you talk about the herbs in Sweden, understand. So I got, found out what herbs they have in Sweden, and we talked about those yesterday.
Savia. I know that Savia.
And but sorry, what is
It's
it?
aloe vera.
Oh,
Salad. That's
yeah,
what sounds
it's a tremendous.
Yeah, it's like that
Yeah.
burns or something.
Yeah. I would have thought aloe vera would be the top poultice. Well, from a spit poultice, the number one spit poultice in the world is plantain. We'll talk about different kinds of poultices. So let's jump in. So
Plantain grows everywhere around here.
does it?
Yeah. It's right outside the window.
Yeah.
So there's poultices in the Bible.
Oh yeah.
You've got the big poultice. What was the problem he had?
Well, the Lord said that was the fig tree, that it doesn't plant it and didn't give it the time to try to produce it.
What was this poultice used for in Isaiah? Boy, that's right. Yeah. That's right. For Isaiah, he said, let the pack of the line lay it the plaster upon a bowl. Shall we?
Yeah, my
This is not work there. Said, called Jesus, made clay and anointed mine eyes and said unto me, go unto the full of Sheol and watch. And I went and watched, and I received sight. And I think he just put on him.
Spit. Remember spit.
Spit in clay. Clay. So do we see clay poultices used anywhere in the world?
clay poultices?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do the natives here use clay poultices? I don't know. Do the natives use clay poultices here?
Every salon does.
They use it a lot in South America.
Korea, they do.
Asia, yes. And then they bury people in Malaysia, and China, and Indonesia in mud, and that draws out. And so yes, we see clay used as a poultice. What's probably one of the biggest uses of a clay or mud poultice? For beach stands. Go down to the creek, get some mud, some clay, put it on there, and it will work for a beach stand.
Amen.
It looks like this guy. We're gonna do this. And he took him posture and straightened himself with all. He sat down among the ashes. Now, what was his problem?
Boils.
In bowl. Now, the difference is, it's not really a poultice because he sat among the ashes and the ashes are dry. If they were wet, it would be like a poultice, a charcoal poultice, or even any poultice. Really, well, back up. Most poultices, you have to add some type of a moisture. But the aloe vera already has the moisture with it, it still has it. So he used saffron ashes. We'll talk about charcoal, how we use it. Poultices can be used for boils, burns, tumors, bites and stings. One time, y'all had yellow jackets up here.
Oh, mercy. I got stung a couple
Okay.
weeks ago.
Okay, I was mowing the yard one time with push mower and ran over a yellow jacket nest. And I got stung by over 30 some. And I was literally just shaking and very painful. And went in and I was still working in regular health here. Mary Lou had started dabbling, learning, and she put charcoal poultices all over me. I laid on the couch and went to sleep. I woke up a little bit later, shaking again. And so she came and observed, what's the difference? Why is he shaking again? Well, she noticed that the poultices had dried out. And all she did was just mix it with some water and apply it to each one of the areas. And she noticed that they were dry. So she rehydrated them. And then again, it worked. And so then she saw she had to keep hydrating them to make sure that they would work. But a poultice will only thaw with rashes, infections, drying foreign objects, colds, flus, pneumonia, wounds, ulcers, nerve and muscle pain. There's different things you can use poultice on. Herbs which make good poultices. There's your aloe vera poultice. Now, who's ever heard of burdock root? We talked about it yesterday a little.
Okay.
Burdock is a great cabbage. Who's ever done a cabbage poultice? What do you use a cabbage poultice for?
I use it personally, but I work in a NICU as a nurse and for nursing mothers. I use it on the family traumas breastfeeding.
So tell us, and I know that we use it for
Cabbage
mastitis.
leaves on,
Pardon?
actually, so I don't know if you call that a poultice.
It is. So was it or was it for mastitis? Was it?
Mastitis.
Okay, yes. So for mastitis,
Inflammation.
how long would they leave it? Yeah, usually it's great for mastitis. If you go, the recommendation is by midwives not to use it over 10 minutes, or you can have reduction in milk flow. But it's excellent for mastitis. It sure is. Yeah. Anyone else use a cabbage poultice? Yes, we'll talk about those. Calendula, cayenne,
I'd use cayenne
cayenne.
for cuts.
That's, yes, excellent for cuts. Stop bleeding. Yeah.
Fresh slices of ginger on wounds and they take the pain away and make you feel twice as fast.
And ginger's phenomenal.
Yeah.
Go to Chinese medicine and there's very few of the remedies they're not using. Ginger, huge. It is.
The calendula is easy to grow.
Well, they grow here.
I grow it.
Oh, here. I saw it up in,
It's just a lot.
That's your pattern.
yeah.
Oh, geez.
So what do folks here use calendula?
I don't know, but I've just read it in books, what to
Okay.
use it for, but I don't know what they do here.
It's great for thrush. When I have infants, that's my choice. Or I like Padiarco better. Who's heard of Padiarco? Padiarco is one of my favorite herbs.
How do you spell that?
PAU space D' space ARCO. It's like Pac-Man. It loves to eat cancer cells. It's also a blood purifier. And you'll find most cancer killers, most herbs are blood purifiers, and blood purifiers are cancer killers.
That works topically.
You can use it topically, yes. You can use it for, let's say you have breast cancer. You can make a poultice out of it, and we'll make poultices today. And you can topically make like a little hamburger and apply it to over the tumor on the breast. Yes.
But internally.
Internally, yes. You can make a tea. Yes, my favorite two items that I find the most effect for prostate enlargement is Padiarco and black seed oil, BLSCK, black seed oil. We used, saw palmetto, we used, pumpkin seeds for years, but it wasn't a big bag. But when I started using the Padiarco, when I started using the black seed, it was much more effective on prostate, shrinking prostate. With red clover? Yeah, Mrs. White said we should drink red clover tea every day. It's a blood purifier, it's cancer. There are folks that are concerned, which Dr. Thresh was not. And there's two schools of thought on using phytoestrogens in response to or cancers involving estrogen, such as breast cancer, prostate cancer. Dr. Thresh said it actually was good for the cancer, actually, because it was a phytoestrogen. Some folks say don't use any estrogen, so I'll let them debate those. But red clover is a tremendous, it really is. Yes.
And the blossoms are so big and so.
Oh, yeah, y'all's blossoms are huge here.
They're like twice the size of
I've
ours.
never seen red clover blossoms as big as here. And your daisies flowers are bigger here.
Or dandelion, it's called.
Oh, your dandelion's bigger here. Flowers are bigger. Yeah.
So we could use the leaves of it or the root. What?
On the dandelion, I use the leaves and I use the root. I haven't used the flowers before medicinally. Sure, there's a way to use them. I just haven't used them. Yes, ma'am.
Say black seed oil, are you talking about the black cumin seeds?
Yes, ma'am. Yes. And for you, it's really good for black folks' hair. I sell it to ladies from the Caribbean and they put it in their hair and it just makes their hair real pretty. Black seed oil. It's really good.
Oak straw tea good is also good for the hair.
Oh, absolutely. For drinking. Yes. The black seed topically, they put it in their hair.
Yeah.
Just like Mary Lou would use, she'd use, olive oil, which is good for her hair. Yeah. Yes. Okay. So calendula, y'all got it here. Things that, you can use it for, you can use it for cancer, breast cancer, or different types of cancer, topically over the cancer. My youngest son, we found he was allergic to bees. I went to pick up a hive. We stapled it good. We secured it good with a screen, put it in the back of our station wagon. We were driving and one of the bees got out and it stung him right here. And he started swelling pretty good. So I was going by the office on the way. And so I pulled into the office where the clinic and Dr. Nelsie Restrepo. Anybody heard of Restrepo out of Colombia or Venezuela? Very, very kind lady and very knowledgeable on being from South America on plants. And she said, oh, just a moment. So she made a tea very quickly of calendula and she daubed the area, just kept daubing it. And the swelling started here, went across the nose, started into this side. I was swollen, this side was swollen pretty good. And I was concerned about airway. And that calendula stopped it and came right back. Cool. Now, did the calendula make it work? Was it the calendula? Astor, was it the calendula?
It's the physician that made the calendula.
Prayer. It's God that makes it work. It's true. The calendula is a great herb to use. I enjoy using it. Your cayenne is just used for a lot. We'll cover some of these when we get into herbs more, but here we are into poultices. We'll talk about a cayenne poultice in a little bit. Chamomile and chamomile grows here.
Yeah,
Y'all got plenty of chamomile.
lots of that. So does chickweed.
And chickweed, okay.
Lots of chicken.
What is the number one use of chickweed?
So,
Chickens love it.
Okay. Appetite suppressant. Chickweed and the appetite suppressant, three times a day, and it helps to reduce thirst. Pardon?
Tea's good fresh and salad too. You just add them.
Yeah,
Fresh in your salad.
cool. We live in Appalachia. And, ladies that, homes that don't have a lot of money, send the kids out, pick some dandelions, Put it, I push out. How about comfrey? Y'all have comfrey here?
Hard to find.
Is it hard to find here? Okay. You got dandelions.
Not today.
Echinacea won't grow here. Elderberry will grow here.
The red elderberry.
Ginger. Ginger grow here. You were talking
Inside.
about ginger. Ginger.
Keep in the grocery store.
Okay. Golden seal, will that grow here?
I don't think it does.
How about Oregon grapefruit? That will grow in,
It goes northwest, but
yeah.
I've
Yeah.
never seen it here.
It's
Probably
called-
probably in southeast.
Golden
Southeast.
seal is a tremendous herb. It's one of my favorite herbs. It's just phenomenal what it will do. And we'll talk about that in a little while.
It's like poison.
Like next time. Listen, I was back to chaparral. Chaparral, really.
Like chaparral.
Do you like chaparral?
I like chaparral tea.
Yeah. Isn't it interesting?
I like
Okay.
the smell of it when it rains too.
Yes. Mary Lou likes licorice.
Oh, yeah, it's amazing.
I like.
Roots or something.
That tastes so good.
Yeah.
Chaparral over the mild tea in day.
Really?
Not yellow, but yarrow.
Oh, Yara, okay. Yeah. So golden seal, we'll talk about golden seal in a little bit. But there's another herb which is called Oregon grapefruit. It's called poor man's golden seal.
Hmm.
It will do the same. It's just more economical.
It's cheaper.
Yes, it is. And then we have something that grows in Appalachia. I don't know where else in America it grows. Might grow up here.
It does.
It grows by, pardon?
The jewelry?
No, ma'am.
Oh.
It's called, now, I'll have to help y'all with this. Y'all translate for me. Yallery. Yallery.
Yellow
Yeah.
root,
Yallery.
yellow.
Yeah.
Yes, like old yaller.
Yeah.
And so Appalachia does not say yellow. Appalachia says yellow.
Yeller.
And so it's called yallery. And so if you go to Appalachia, say you want some yallery. It grows in the mountains. It grows by branches, streams and creeks. And it's like a Siamese twin to golden seal. It's extremely better. And it's free.
Do you know the scientific name for that? Because I'm curious what plant that is.
I don't know. I know we cannot buy it. I can only buy it over at Cherokee. And I can buy it from the Cherokee Indians. Or I can just go out and harvest it. It grows in Appalachia. That's the only place I know it grows.
I mean, I used to roam the mountains there a
Yeah.
lot for wildflowers and things.
Yes.
I don't know what yellow should.
Yeah.
Well, I wondered if you did.
It looks, I don't know the scientific name. I don't. It tastes, it looks, it smells. This would be yellow root. So it'd be different than yellow dog.
Similar to golden seal.
It does, yeah. I mean, it's a Siamese twin. Does jewelweed grow here?
Yes,
It does.
I just saw it the other day.
Really?
I don't even know what that is.
Find more chairs. We need more chairs, y'all. We got
We got lots.
Is this what the yellow is? Sure. Sorry.
That's just one.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yes, that's why. Yeah, that's what makes the golden seal name. Perfect. Yes.
What was the Oregon root?
Oregon grapefruit. Oregon grapefruit, yes. So jewelweed.
Yeah.
Where does, it's interesting now have jewelweed. Jewelweed is a great tool that we use in Appalachia. Or anywhere where there's poison ivy, poison oak, poison sumac. Now, y'all don't have poison oak or poison ivy, correct?
Nope.
You have sumac.
No, we have something that's worse, and that is the
I'll set the leaves out.
Yeah, that was
Devil's foot?
So, what-
No,
not, well, devil's cod, but there's another
the
one.
wild rhubarb.
Wild celery.
Wild
You're not
celery.
having these, but that's the term of it.
Is it the one that you didn't know it makes leaves?
It
Yeah.
burns.
Yes.
And you don't know you have money until you get in the sun, and then when you're in the sun, it breaks all out.
Craig showed that to me last week. He
But
said-
it's not, we call it in Valdez, we call it wild celery, but that's not the real name.
Okay.
This is what.
I wonder if
Another
it
name.
would work. It'd be interesting, it'd be worth trying.
Well, you know, when you come up next time, let me know. I want to do an experiment.
The Julie is a great tool that we use. It usually in our area grows next to the 49 portion of. It grows, in our area more towards watery areas. Is it more watery areas for y'all?
Where I saw it was by Campbell Creek.
Okay, yeah.
Really?
It usually is
I've never
more
seen
towards
it.
creeks or watery areas. Yeah. Lavender,
Oh,
It's yellow. There's yellow and there's orange.
lavender
I saw the yellow.
is, as we look at essential oils, lavender is the number one essential oil used in the world.
How about tea or tea life?
You can make tea.
You can grow lavender here in the summer, but it doesn't live over the winter. I don't
Okay.
think. It's not real hard, yes, unless you find a really hardy variety.
How about mullein? Mullein, does it grow here?
Haven't seen it.
I haven't seen it.
Mulleins is the best herb that I know of for the lung function. It's amazing, it's bronchodilator. It's an excellent herb for lungs. You can use it for poultices, for breast cancer. It itches a bit. Come on in.
I was just hoping out.
Yeah, come on, you got some place to go here.
Have you ever eaten lobelia?
Lobelia. That's the mountain term for lobelia. Lobelia is an excellent herb. So it's a part for the lungs. Yeah, it's excellent for the lungs. It works. Yeah. The neat thing about lobelia is on the low dose, it's an antispasmodic. So if you're having any issues of spasm, muscles, thumbs, anything, yes, it does. It's great for seizures, Bell's palsy.
It also helps with people with smoking.
It does. Do you know why?
Because I don't have the right part in my brain, but it's very similar to,
Nicotine.
yes, it's like one what's the word starts with a C? Carcinogen. It's one thing off from like a nicotine, so it's very similar. So when you put it under your tongue, it's like you're having effects.
Yeah, it gives the same satisfaction to the person, but it doesn't have the harmful effect.
Right,
What is that, lobelia?
yeah.
Like
Pardon?
flower?
The
Lobelia?
flower.
Yes.
Lobelia.
Yes.
Flower, lobelia. Oh.
And so it's a great herb. We use it for tobacco, for helping people to stop smoking because it makes that satisfaction, but doesn't have that. And also, if they smoke, it can make the cigarette taste bad.
Yes,
Oh,
it
yeah.
can. It's kind of funny.
Yes, it can. It's bigger, like I said, any kind of spasm issues. I had a lady come in one time, she had pancreatitis. She'd been on hop around for 3 months. They had, are y'all Korean?
Yes, most of the time.
So the only thing saved this lady's life, well, God saved her. But her father. And the brother was internal medicine, sister's internal medicine. She'd been in the hospital for 3 months, or over 3 months, but she'd been on Hyperal for, Hyperal limitation, which is like 2 total for nutrition. She'd been on nothing by mouth for 3 months. Significant, 29 years of age, significant pancreatitis. Finally, the hospital said, there's nothing we can do. DC to Hyperal, send her home to die. The brother brings her home to die. And because they were Korean, this happened. The father says, I know a friend. He was a physician who had cancer, who had come to us, and we'd helped him with cancer, and the cancer had gone away. The father said, send her to this clinic because of the respect for the elderly. Son said, listen. And sent her to us. We got her on Monday morning. She could not ambulate on her own. The pain was so bad, she could not even allow her gown to touch her abdominal region. And so we tried giving her things from the mouth, water, she threw everything out. So the first day we tried activated charcoal, couldn't hold it down that night. I called a friend of mine and Dr. Collins. And he said, do slurry water. So we did slurry water. Now, slurry water is where you take activated charcoal and you put it in, you take a teaspoon, put it in a glass of water, stir it up, you take 1/4 of a teaspoon. And you wait 15 minutes, you stir it up, wait 15 minutes, take 1/4 of a teaspoon, and then stir it immediately, do another 15 minutes. So every 15 minutes, you're doing 1/4 of a teaspoon. Then you increase by 1/4 of a teaspoon every hour. And he told me, he says, you will be tempted at 3 or 4 hours to say, she's doing great, go ahead and have her drink it. She will throw up. He says, do it for 7 to 8 hours. So we did it for 8 hours. After 8 hours, that was on Tuesday. She did well all day long, held it down. That evening, we started getting her to drink not only charcoal water, she was drinking juice. By Friday, she was eating, this was on Tuesday, by Friday, she was eating in the dining room. The next weekend, she was jogging on campus. She's still alive today, and that was in 2000.
You also did charcoal poultices, didn't you?
Yes, so what we also did is we did poultices to her back. We did lobelia poultices because she was actually having spasms. Or fomentations is what we did, lobelia fomentations. Because we couldn't do anything, we did hot and cold fomentations to the back to radiate through. We could not do fomentations on the abdominal region because of the tenderness. So we did heliotherapy with light therapy, like Kellogg used light therapy. Yeah, that's what we did. And God blessed it. And again, because the respect that Koreans have. Here in America, Dad, I'm the doctor. I know best. No, deny it. I appreciate that. Let's see here. So yeah, lobelia. What else do we use lobelia for? But if we want a spasmon, it will work just like Serpivicac. Remember Serpivicac years ago? Ipecac. So if you have a bottle, just drink the bottle, you won't make it out the door. You will throw up.
People who like want to quit smoking or expel like the tar out of their lungs. Don't take more than a certain, like a couple teaspoons at a time. One guy responded.
Dr. Schultz would use it for lung cancer to have violent throwing up to try to address the lung cancer. Yeah. Yeah, he gets a little aggressive.
Yes, he does.
So does his tongue. I want to use it for a gallbladder liver cleanse. You do 30 drops. And when you do the night part, where you do the olive oil, the lemon juice, and the ginger, do 30 drops of lobelia. It dilates the bile duct so that your gallstone doesn't get stuck. So it's great to dilate if you need to dilate the bile duct and dilate the bile duct. Yeah, lobelia is a great tool.
Can you spell that? Lobelia?
Lobelia. Is that correct? I don't spell well, y'all. We got nettle. We talked about that yesterday. A great tool. Oats. I grew up on a farm, a dairy farm, and in the mountains, and there were big cattle. And my grandmother, she was just a country lady. Her dad's the guy that was a veterinarian, and so she loved animals. And we had dumps, and grandmother would go to the dump, and she'd find old dogs that had mange or whatever, and she'd bring them home, and she'd treat the mange with oats. She'd take oatmeal, blend it up in the blender. She'd mix water with it and make an oatmeal paste, and put her on her. Remember Marge? Remember Marge when we were kids on TV?
The Simpsons?
The Playtex, what was it called? Playtex gloves.
Oh.
Yeah.
And she put on her Playtex gloves that she washed dishes with, and she rubbed that oatmeal all over that dog, and it'd cure the mange.
Oats, oat is, the oat. If you soak in oats, like if you put the oats in a bag and soak it in the tub, it's good for eczema.
It is eczema, psoriasis, rosacea, any of those guys. You're right. Yes, sir.
How about, I know mangy rash, the dogs that have all that, they use burnt oil. Burnt car oil,
So where did they do that?
Texas,
Okay.
South Texas. I mean, we just put it on the dogs and they cure it and try that, you know.
That's exactly right. What they do in Appalachia. Yeah, they take used motor oil and they'll pour it on there. And another thing that will work for it is you take is you go downstream of a paper mill, from a paper mill that dumps into the river,
Okay.
the toxins, throw your dog, mange dog in the river, or if you have poison ivy, it will cure the poison ivy, the mange, just like that. It's very toxic.
Oats, would you organic oats because of the spray they spray on?
Today, yes. Also, you may even want to do gluten-free oats. Yeah, oats do not have gluten in them, but you can have cross-pollination. You can have being in the same buildings. And so a person who's has gluten intolerance wants gluten-free oats.
I saw that.
Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah, they have it grown somewhere else away from any wheat being grown, and they have it stored separately. Onion poultices, Podiarco poultices, plantain, we talked about, and poke. Now, poke doesn't grow here, does it? Poke is a powerful, powerful herb. The berries, the PDR for herbal medicine, that's an excellent book for y'all to take a look at. You're familiar with the PDR for medicine that you use for pharmaceuticals. Well, they also make one called PDR for herbal medicine. And same, I mean, you think you're looking at the same book, but instead of looking at Lanoxin, you're looking at Lobelia. And so it tells you the dosing, it tells you the contraindications, the indications, it has a picture of what the herbs look like. It's an excellent tool. It's a little on the conservative side. You can be more aggressive usually than that book, but it's very safe. And in there, they'll tell you on poke berries, not to give them to children, but adults can eat X amount of berries. If you have, and there's certain way poke is poisonous.
Yeah, it is.
If you don't use it right. If you want to make a tea with poke, you go out and it's fresh and you go dig it up. My garden grows, the best thing my garden grows is poke. I mean, my garden grows poke well. So when I go out there in the spring, I have to pull up the poke. because it grows huge. Yeah, it can get big, you're right. And so in the spring, you can eat poke salad. And you eat the little leaves and that's poke salad. Well, I like using the root for oat tea, and you dig up your root, and I'll take a piece of root about the size of my thumb, like you do with thumb of ginger. You put it in a pot, bring it to a boil, and you literally boil it. You don't steep it like you don't make a decoction. You actually boil it for 20 minutes. And you boil it, you boil it for 20 minutes, throw that tea away, it's poisonous. Leave the poke root in there, put another quart of water in there, boil it for 20 minutes, throw that tea, because that tea is poisonous. Put a third quart of water in there and boil that for 20 minutes. And you can then use that tea internally throughout the day. Then you take the poke root, and let's say this is the poke root, piece of poke. Then you take a cheese grinder and grate it on a cheese grinder into, like you grind cheese. And then I'll take some psyllium powder. And so then I'll take the oats, I'll put in a little bit of psyllium, mix it to where it's the consistency of hamburger powder. Now, if I get too much psyllium, then I'll put a little of the poke tea in there. So, you know what a hamburger patty looks like, the consistency, liquid wise, that's about what you want. And then you can apply that topically onto the breast for breast cancer or other places of the tumor. And just apply it straight. And then you can put a piece of cellophane on top to keep the moisture in. Because remember, a poultice needs to stay moist. If it dries, it won't draw as well. Potato poultice, anybody ever use potato poultice? Yeah, my grandmother taught me to use potato poultices for burns. We had a to the clinic one day, and this fella comes in, he's Filipino. He was a maintenance guy, and he needed to work on a furnace that was not working. So he turns the tank at the big 1,000-gallon propane tank. He turns off the valve, goes into the room where the propane furnace is, and he turns on the light, but the light doesn't work. So he needs to see. So he pulls out his big lighter. Goes down. Blows up. And it from here up. I mean, it burned here, it burned, he had no eyebrows, no eyelashes, burned his hair up through here off. His neck and face were burnt, but then he had flame marks. And the flame marks looked like flames on a 57 Chevy with paint on it. Look at the flame marks up his face with even deeper burns. And so
Third degree, second degree.
it was good 3rd-degree burns on the flame marks. And so laid him down on the exam table, and the first thing I got was aloe vera gel, out of bottle of aloe vera gel, and I just kept pouring it on his face, and his face soaked up a whole quart of aloe vera gel. Just kept putting it on there. It soaked in. I poured more, soak in, pour more. Because of the gel, it didn't run off as much. It stuck on pretty good. So then I had them make potato poultices. I just took potatoes and grated them on a cheese grater, and then I put that on there, and then I put more aloe vera on there. And then, have you ever done vinegar for sunburns? Yeah, it's great for sunburns. So you take you a bowl, and you put vinegar in it. Get your washcloth, put it in there, squeeze it, and you apply it to the infected area, and just lay it on there, and the washcloth will turn hot. Pull it off. Be careful; it'll hurt. Just lay it on there gently, and then pull it off. Put it back in the vinegar again, and you use multiple cloths. And when it gets hot, you pull it off, and your vinegar will turn hot. So then you put this in the freezer. Get you another bowl, pour more vinegar, and now you're rotating the 2 bowls out of the freezer. And this one, you just keep doing it until the washcloth does not get hot. Once the washcloth does not get hot, then you put aloe vera on, and then 30 minutes, another hour, you're going to get hot again. Because remember, textbook, they taught us in school that burning continues for up to 12 hours. That's why at midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning, you're on fire. Because it just keeps burning. Hey, there's the man. No problem. All right. And so you do the same thing with the potato poultice. So I put the potato poultice on, and I put it on his face until the potato would get hot. Take the potato off, and then I just put aloe vera. Then I put potato aloe vera. Then I just do aloe vera. And we just kept going. And then I ran out of aloe vera. And so a physician from the Philippines had gifted us a bunch of aloe vera plant that we put in the greenhouse. So I had therapists that were from Venezuela and Colombia. So I had them make fresh aloe vera gel because they knew how to do that in Venezuela and Colombia. They had worked at lifestyle centers down there at Las Delicias in both countries. So they came up and we treated him for 5 hours. Taught his wife what to do. She then continued at home. The man had 0 scarring.
Wow.
0 scarring.
That's
It was amazing. Just amazing. The next one is red clover. You may call this as red clover, St. John's, thyme, and yarrow. And I believe we've got some yarrow.
Yeah, yarrow is everywhere around here.
Okay, so how to use it? There are a number of ways to prepare herb for topical healing, depending on the plant, how quick you need the healing, and how much of a project you want to take on. So again, depending on the plant, like a potato poultice doesn't take a lot of preparation. How quick do you need it? How quick do we need that fast healing? I was at Station 2 one day right at I-40, and I get a phone call, and I get dispatched, and the dispatch says EMS was out of service at level 0. we had a guy who had been stung by bees, they said. And so they called us to respond. So I start to leave. Walter runs out to my son to his truck to get his med bag, which is a better one that's on the truck, our truck. And then I get a phone call, and it was dispatch, and it was Karen. I said, Karen, what you got? She says, Walt. She says, where are you? I said, Station 2. She's like, so I thought, I was hoping you were there. And she told me who it was. And I know the person. He's very allergic to bees. And she says he's having difficulty in breathing. So we ended up taking Walter's truck, which is a whole lot faster than a car truck. So we got there, and his skin was as white. Sorry. White as a sheet pipe. His blood pressure was right at 70/40. His pulse was at 118. Level of consciousness, he was either plumb out or he'd wake up fine. He's a military guy. He was active duty, now he's in the reserve. And he was fine. And he was just out of it, crazy man. And so I called him, I called, and they said the ambulance was 15 minutes out by this time. Finally got one in route. I didn't like what the blood pressure was doing. And so we're not allowed in our state to carry charcoal on ambulances any longer. We used to, we're not allowed to anymore. North Carolina, I don't think it's allowed to either. And so they say it's too dangerous. So I told the wife, I said, this is how God works. Told the wife, I said, I wish I had charcoal. She goes, oh, I've got some. I bought it from you a couple of years ago. I said, so, okay, he tells her brother to go get it. So he runs to the garage and brings me some charcoal briquettes for the barbecue. I'm not better. So she tells her where it was in the bathroom, runs and gets it. And so all I did is I take the charcoal. I mean, we've got an acute situation. We don't have time to mess around. I didn't, well, can you give me some psyllium or can you give me some flaxseed and we grind it? No, I ain't got time for that. So I just poured it in my hand. Someone had a water bottle, poured some water in, stirred it up here, and then he had a sting here, he had a sting here, and it wasn't a bee, it was a white-faced one. Within 2 minutes, blood pressure had gone from low 70 over low 40 up to, it was in the 90s, upper 90s, over 70. Pulse had come down to around 100. Skin color had come back normal. His level of consciousness was back. Is that not fast? So EMS gets there, medical have done, and so he transports him to a hospital. Halfway to the hospital, the medic tells him, I don't want to get yelled at by the physician with this black stuff on you. I'm cleaning it off. He said within 1 minute, his lips went numb and he passed out. Oh, isn't it amazing? So that's where you can use something very fast. So how quick, what's the acuity? What do you have available? What do you have available? What's the acuity? How fast, how quick do you need the healing? And then how big a project do you want to take on? Sometimes you're fast, sometimes it takes a little time to do. Types of herbal poultices, you got fresh plant poultices, spit poultices, hot herbal poultices, and cold herbal poultices. So let's look at it. Components of a basic poultice. You need your drawing material, a binder. That's optional. I didn't use a binder for this fella because I didn't have it available. I didn't have the time. So I just used, but it has to have moisture. So if it had taken longer for the animals, I would have kept using more water, as maybe you used on me when I had this thing. Apply to the affected area, wrap, optional. I didn't wrap it on him. I just laid it right there. You want to keep it, if you want to keep it moist and you want to wrap it, put a piece of cellophane on it. That works well. Or you can take a chuck. Y'all know what a chuck is. Cut the chuck, put the chuck on top of it, and that works well. Now, we used to use, a lot of folks used to use paper towel a lot, and they still do. I just like making the material, putting it straight on, putting something on top of it. But you can use a paper towel and put it in the paper towel. That's how I first started doing the charcoal poultices. This is when we started doing them. But you don't have to. unless it's a charcoal poultice and there's an open wound.
Mm.
You need to put it because you can tattoo them. If there's an open wound, it's a high probability to tattoo them. Less probable with the psyllium than with other products. When I was in Venezuela, at a lifestyle center down there, they don't have taps. And even toilet paper, the rule was 2 squares, no matter what you needed.
Better have a good hose.
Double fire apply.
So- I think you were school. So I told Elder Restrepo, who's Pastor Restrepo, who's, director of the both clinics in Venezuela and he and his wife, Dr. Restrepo, are both clinics. I told him that, and it was a kind of a personnel problem. You see that as a personnel problem? Only offering 2 squares per minute. And, but they just didn't have availability. And I said, I can fix your problem. Really? He got real excited. I said, yes. Now, you got to go back to Appalachia to understand. So maybe they do it here. I don't know. Maybe other parts of the world do it. But this is Appalachia. And so he had this huge pile of corn dogs about this tall. Oh, man. You got a pile of corn dogs? Now, at first he thought I was kidding, but no, I was serious. Back years ago in Appalachia, they used corn cobs. Corn cobs. Oh, corn cobs. The cob.
Which part is that?
When you chew it, what's left? COB.
Oh, the cob.
Yeah, the cob.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll use that. They had about used to waddle.
Okay.
That's Sears and Roebuck catalog. That was Sears and Roebuck. Yeah, see? Yeah, okay. What? You, pardon?
Oh, that's newspaper.
Oh, okay, newspaper, but don't use foresight. Rabbit hospital, if you're gonna sell the deal, but if you're gonna be looking around, you gotta. Identify the need, so a quick fresh plant holder, identify the need, determine the herb or herbs you're gonna be using. Estimate how much you're gonna need, and apply the crushed leaf, stem, or other parts over the affected area. Secure with a bandage, leave for up to 3 hours, and reapply if necessary.
You back that up a second.
Sure. Tell you the Appalachians changed since I was a boy. The school where I grew up, public school, was a 1-room school. It had an outhouse. All the local churches had outhouses. Were outhouses popular in this area?
Honey buckets,
Pardon?
honey buckets.
Oh, yeah, honey buckets, sure,
And so
sure.
on the lakes of cabins, we have our house.
I have outhouses, yeah, just what can I say? No, I'll tell you, this is so funny. I went and, I was getting some water for the fire station the other day, and, it's a new structure. And, I went to the power company, which has the water. And again, I like him. And so, we were right on the river, that river y'all saw yesterday, the Pigeon River, which is a very rapid river. And, the lady said, so what are you gonna use for sewage? I said, oh, we'll just straight pipe to the river. Solid, I seriously, would you think? Straight pipe to the river too. So you want to identify the need, determine the herb to be used. We already talked that. Y'all got that one?
Mhm.
Very good. Secure with a bandage. Leave for up to 3 hours and reply if necessary. A mud poultice. These are specific poultices. A mud poultice, you can bee stings, bug bites, or stinging nail or rash. We talked about that yesterday. If you were in, and they may do this in Korea, I don't know, but they do it in China, Malaysia, Indonesia. The person has an asthmatic attack, they'll strip them from the waist up and they'll beat their chest and their back with stinging nettles. It will stop the asthmatic attack, and then they put mud all over them. And actually, in Malaysia, in Indonesia, they'll dig a hole, make mud, bury them with their head sticking out, pull that stinging out. Do they use a lot of mud in Korea?
Urinate the one if we've got the waters, put it on the thing.
Yes, sure. Good moisture.
Yeah, sure, be warm and
Sure.
pulls it out.
Yeah, it's got a vasodilator because it's warm.
Doctor, just one thing, as we were reading this, I haven't heard this. How about the EpiPen? You know, is it good to
Okay.
have one of those, an EpiPen, you know?
Sure.
Around here, a lot of people.
Yeah, here's the warning on EpiPens. This is the big warnings. Do not miss the leg and hit your thumb, or you'll lose cavity.
It's got to be the leg, just the right word.
Yes, if you go, and you're holding the leg and you go, and the patient moves, and you hit your thumb, you can lose your thumb. Yeah, many people have lost their thumb when they hit the thumb with that. So be careful and don't hit there's not enough circulation there. And you can lose that thumb or that finger. That's one of the cautions they taught us in school. Number two is an EpiPen it will last maybe on average 20 minutes.
Enough time to get them where you need to get.
And that's the problem. People will use the EpiPen and they'll go, oh, I'm fine, and stay there. And that's why many EpiPens have 2 doses. But it can last, say, 20 minutes, and they think, oh, I'm doing great. Same thing with Narcan. Look at Narcan. We'll give Narcan, and then the they're okay, and then they refuse to be transported, and then they'll go, oh, I need another high, and they go take the drug again, and now the Narcan wears off, so now they still have the effect of what they had, plus the nuke, and they overdose and die. We see that also. So the EpiPen, if you do, be sure that not to hit a finger. Again, that's a warning that we're taught in school. And the other is 20 minutes.
20 minutes.
You need to get them somewhere. And then if it wears off, if it has a second, but be prepared. If it's a long way to the hospital, you may have to use a second.
They'll be going back into shock again, or that's when
They start having the allergic reaction.
Okay.
Yes.
So is the charcoal actually taking the poison out? It's dealing with it. If they were to keep putting that charcoal like we did with you, that you wouldn't need to fill buttons. Is that the difference? Or is
What
it
I would
still
do-
danger?
What I would, and everybody's different. But the charcoal poultices works extremely effective. If that resolves the issue, then you may not have to have the EpiPen. And then you have the EpiPen if needed. But the charcoal works extremely well. It really does. Mud can detoxify, softens the skin, and it's good for drawing. And I mentioned this last week over in Wasilla. Women like this better than men. As I mentioned last week, y'all are different than us. When we would do therapies on patients, it was a 3-week program. And the last day of therapy, we always gave the patient their choice of their therapy. What did they want? We did all kinds of modalities throughout the 2 weeks they were there, 3 weeks they were there. And the last day, they could choose whatever they wanted to. Whether it was the Russian steam bath, whether it was the douche, whether it was, a deep tissue massage, whether it was whatever. And the ladies, what they would choose was the clay poultice. And what you do is you take bentonite clay, you put it in a container and mix water with it. It is best if you wait until the next day. If you do it the same day, it just doesn't have that texture that you're looking for. Wait a day and you'll have better texture. And so what we have ladies on ladies and men on men. And they had very little on. And so then they would apply the bentonite clay from head to foot. And they would allow the ladies to just sit there for like 30 minutes to an hour. It's not there.
Still.
Yeah. How long ago I'm rubbing that stuff all over me?
That's right.
But the ladies like it. And the men usually didn't choose that. They just weren't interested in that. But very, very popular. Yes.
When I was visiting my mom in Palm Springs years ago, they had high-end spas that did that.
Yeah.
They charged a lot of money for that.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And it's very effective.
Body treatment.
Yes. Had a lady come in one day. And this was back in 06. And she came in and let me see if I can find the color. No, I can't find it. She was orange. She was yellow orange. I think the whites of her eyes.
Wow.
Challenges.
Yeah. She's Caucasian because she was orange. Her hands, her face, legs, everything. She was orange. And she said, well, my physician said there's nothing else they can do for me. I'm going to die. And can you? And I said, okay. Number one, is it alcohol related? She says, yes. Have you quit the alcohol? She said, yes. I said, you're over 50% there. So we did milk thistle, we did dandelion root, and then for the jaundice, bentonite clay. You can use it on babies, and you know when the bilirubin, that newborn, and their jaundice. I've used it on that, and it works very well for that. You know, I've used a lot. The lady's still alive today. The dandelion addressed the cirrhosis of the liver. She did 2 mLs 3 times a day of both. And then to address the jaundice, she did the nut poultice, the bentonite clay. And it was amazing. It detoxifies.
Doc, Kathy's got a very soft voice. She had said she had a question for you.
Yeah.
Well, for this bug bites, like a SAM mosquito bite, is there a window that my poultice will work like right after the bite, or like if you scratch it 2 days later and it's driving you crazy, will you still get?
It might still work, but it works best, you know, at the time. Yes. Stinging little rash, detoxifies, softens the skin. Should ask for some. Y'all don't have any blackstrap molasses here, do you?
Oh, do you mean like not in your house?
Not here though. Okay. So
Maybe
I usually do this one. Sometimes I'll do both. But you can do a blackstrap molasses. Poultice. And we say molasses, it was molasses. Yeah. I'll do a facial. Oh, man. So, but if you want to really do a good facial, what I'll do is you do the bentonite clay. No? Okay, thank you for looking. So I'll do if we have time, I'll do a bentonite clay facial for about 30 minutes. And the bentonite clay will draw out and pull those oils out. And then put the bentonite clay on, I put the blackstrap molasses on there. But you don't have to use it. You can just do the blackstrap molasses. Oh, your face is so soft. Oh, it's tremendous. And it just puts all kinds of see.
And it tastes delicious.
Blackstrap molasses is full of potassium, magnesium, iron. I mean, it's just full of all kinds of minerals. And it just fills the face, and it's just go home and try it. You can do just the blackstrap, or you can do the bentonite and then put blackstrap to rehydrate it. And the wives love it. and they'll go feeling their husband's face. I'll think he's feeling so good. It works good.
Well, you get on.
30 minutes. 30 minutes.
Is that how it's called? Bentonite?
Bentonite clay.
No, the molasses.
Oh, blackstrap molasses.
That, like, we'll look for black straps.
Yes.
Have it everywhere.
Molasses is not as potent. Blackstrap is more potent. Then we've got, it also draw, but Poultice can draw.
What's the advantage of what's the advantage of the bentonite clay over other clays?
It's a good question. Some people use the European green clay, but I find that the bentonite draws better.
I mean, if I just went and used clay that got my own clay,
Yeah.
would it work?
In Asia, they just use clay. In South America, they just use clay. But of what I've used, I like the bentonite the best. I've used green clay. I like the bentonite better. But any of your clays that you make is going to draw. Yes, ma'am.
Would either of those poultices help with
I
acne?
think bentonite.
They may.
Clean.
Pardon? Yeah, but not good. The best thing I found for acne is her friend. Chaparral. Go down to Flagstaff. And there and talk with the Navajos. And what the Navajos use for acne is they'll take and make a paste of chaparral. And they'll put that paste like a poultice like on the face for it. I use just the capsules
Okay.
internally. Yeah, it's kind of hard to get young folks to smell this because some people like it, some people don't. Yes. Does berberine work good? Internally or externally? Eat by mouth.
Yeah.
Right. Excellent. Perfect. Berberine.
Berberine. Some of this other stuff he's talking about contains berberine, and so I don't know how much.
But you're buying barberry.
I'm buying actual white barberry.
Okay. See if you can do those. You got it, barberry? Excellent. Good. We'll start done.
I spell that.
Pardon?
Spell barbarians.
You don't spell barberry?
Barberies, and I can send you, they've done like double blind
Excellent. Perfect.
studies that show that it'll kill acne in like a month.
Isn't that excellent?
Yeah.
That's so good.
Yeah.
And it's not toxic. Doesn't mess with the liver. Yeah. The chaparral works good. It's capsules, 3 caps, 3 times a day. They use it in high school. The ladies in their 20s, 30s use it for hormone issues. So that's a great to know that. Good thing.
Question.
Yes.
What causes acne?
That's a blood issue. It can be hormones, usually hormones. It exacerbates you with people touching their face and oils and that kind of thing, but it's usually the hormone issue, the blood issue. Or it can be, or the diet too, can make a difference. That affluent diet. The affluent diet, which Cornell talks about, the affluent populations, parts of the world that have the more money, more fluency, more of that diet, the oils and that type of thing. But thank you about that. Appreciate it.
Did you say, excuse me, Doc, did you say that you were gonna do a mask today?
I don't-
I do, yeah.
I usually do mask with the blackstrap molasses, which didn't have any.
Okay, that's fine. So, but the clay mask,
Or you do a clay mask?
so, but I'm asking, so the clay mask, do you follow up with the blackstrap?
I like doing that because the clay mask leaves the face rather dry.
Sure does.
And so I like rehydrating the face with the wax.
So that's 30 minutes.
And so you got 30 minutes.
Mask, I have skincare company that has all natural products. And they have a mask with bentonite clay, kaolin clay,
Okay,
and cocoa.
okay.
Yeah.
Here's the cool thing. Berberine, chaparral. There's so many tools God gave us around the world. Or even in the same location. We don't have chaparral growing here. It's not gonna grow in Tennessee. But guess what we got in Tennessee? We got burdock root. We've got red clover.
Yes.
We've got red clover up here. Great blood purifier. And so God has given us tools around the world. And so you can have many different tools. Like, yes,
We got burdock, in Alaska, we got.
you have burdock?
We have burdock.
Okay.
It's here, but, you gotta, it's beautiful, actually, it's fragrant.
Okay.
It's got flower that is, really good, but the root goes way down if you wanna keep digging.
Yeah. It's like, does kudzu grow in Korea? Kudzu?
Actually, in Japan, they have.
Oh, it's in Japan big time.
Yeah, what do you call that? It's when I used to be a chef in Japanese restaurant, they make the burdock root as one of the delicacy.
Okay. So God has given us different herbs around the world and different ones at different places. And some may work for some may not. It's kind of like deodorant. Some people put on a deodorant and it may work for a couple of months and then they have to try a different deodorant. Well, herbs can do the same thing. Or maybe you take Benadryl and you go to sleep and Benadryl wakes you up.
Yeah.
Herbs are the same way too. And so you may have to try different herbs. You may have to use one, then use a different one. You just have to be flexible with it. You just use different ones. Yeah. So pig poultice, one of the highest plant sources of calcium and fiber. Split open a pig and soak it in warm water to create a poultice. Now, if the fig is fresh, that you picked it off a tree, you just cut it open and apply it fresh. You don't have to soak it in water. Or you can take that fresh fig and you can cut it open and you can scoop out the material and then put it on the area as a poultice. But you can take a dry fig and you can cut it in half, dry, soak it in water, rehydrate it, and then you can apply it or you can scoop it out and do the same way.
And that application is for,
It could be cancer,
okay,
it can be a boil,
so it's topical.
it's a topical. Yeah.
Okay.
Now, people eat figs,
Well,
but this is for poultice.
okay.
Pardon?
Oil.
Oils,
Yes,
the bowls.
yeah, we call them bowls.
Well,
It's like boiling eggs. Split open the fig and soak it in warm water to create a poultice. Place a thin layer of gauze over the affected area, then apply the fig. You don't have to, you just put the fig straight on it. You can put it straight. Change every 8 hours or twice daily. Figs can be used for cancers, abnormal growth, boils, cysts, pain, arthritic pain, scar tissue. So if you're having scar tissue that you want to address, you can use figs on scar tissue. And also breast lumps. I like castor oil for breast lumps. It works good for that.
Women's breasts with stretch marks.
Oh, for stretch marks? You can use that. Also, vitamin E can be used. Shea butter is good for those stretch marks. Yeah, you can use figs or vitamin E.
but how long, I mean, it's best right after.
It is.
Okay, yeah. Okay.
So let's say you have you want to use the pine sap. Who's used pine sap? Yeah. Pine sap is amazing stuff. Everyone cut her hand over one time in the garden. And so we went over to the office and a buddy of mine was there and he is an ER doctor. He said, "Oh, let me sew that thing up." And he said, "I put some pine sap in it first." And so he put some pine sap in it, sewed it up, and it healed so much faster.
Oh,
So
wow.
much faster. And it pine sap, you just can't put pine sap on a puncture wound because it heals so fast that it'll tunnel underneath and come out. Unless you can irrigate that very well, then you, like a dog bite or a cat bite or a nail or something, you don't want to put pine sap on that because you can't really irrigate that area that well. But, any type of abrasion or laceration, you can put the pine sap in on that area and it heals much faster and pathogens will not grow in pine sap.
Is there a shelf life on pine sap? Pretty good.
Yes.
Let's see.
That's a neat tree.
You find trees here.
Oh, just got a sap off of the bunch.
Yeah, when the sap's down, now it's your problem.
Spruce. We have spruce. No, that's spruce. I don't think we have pine here.
That's spruce.
Do you have any pine trees?
I think we got my thumbs.
So behind sap, we use it for wounds. I've used it for all 6 of my grandkids for teething.
How do you do that?
How pine sap you can use it.
Put it in their mouth?
Take it and rub it on the gun.
Honey.
Yeah, and it just takes the pain away. Yeah, it works real good. I was teaching a class a good while ago, and there's a lady. I was teaching this kind of class, and I like learning, just like I'm learning today. We're very foolish if we think we know everything. And so I'm teaching the class, and this little lady way back in the corner is pretty decent out of the room, and she raised her hand and she says, "Can I tell you about something about pine sap?" I said, "Sure." She says, "Back in 1918, she says, when I was a little girl, she says, my daddy was a nurse down in Southern California. And he'd take my brother and I from house to house." That got my attention. What was he treating house to house? And
Spanish flu.
The Spanish flu. And he would take them into the house. She says, when we get home at night, Daddy would take a pine knot, put it over the fire, and it would start dripping pine sap into a glass of water. And Daddy would drink it. My brother and I out of the same glass, and we drank it. We never got the Spanish flu. So I said, "How many drops? How much water? How much did you drink?" And she goes, "I don't know. I was a little girl. I'm working." Then when I came back to Tennessee, almost 20 years ago, this fall will be 20 years ago. There's mountain ladies, obviously they're dead now, but they were in their 80s, their 90s. They'd come in and I'd have pine sap and they'd say, "Well, let me show you how to use that." So I'd listen. And they'd take it and they'd put it on a finger and they'd rub it on their gums. Or they'd say when they were little girls, their mother or their grandmother would take a piece of pine rosin, the size, and it didn't matter what community they came from. That's the size of a match head. And they would chew it on the way to school. They didn't have school buses back when they were kids. They would walk to school in the mountains. And they'd chew that every day on the way to school. And it boosted the immune system and they didn't get sick. But pine sap is very good. Like I said, pathogens will not grow in pine sap. I do a salve for wounds with pine sap in it, and it helps to heal the wound much faster. Boils, cysts, pain, scar tissue, breast lumps. Aloe vera poultices, repairing damaged skin, treat the wounds, reduce inflammation and itching, promotes wound healing, reddening and flakiness of psoriasis. The things that I used to use for psoriasis just don't work as much anymore.
Psoriasis can mutate.
Sorry?
Mutate.
Oh, the mutate
Into a different.
into a different type.
Yeah.
So I called Dr. Agatha and I said, what I'm using for eczema, rosacea, psoriasis, it's not working. So what do you use? So I told her. She said, that's what we used to use, but it doesn't work anymore.
Oh,
That's no problem. So what's going on? And she said it's the wheat. She said just one cracker can kick on psoriasis, eczema, and rosacea for 2.5 months. Same thing for arthritis. And she says, have them go 3 to 4 months, gluten-free, and that's the best thing I'm finding. And that's what I'm finding, as I work with folks who have psoriasis, eczema, rosacea, any of those guys, even arthritis. Go 3 to 4 months. That is the most effective thing I can find to get rid of that. And why is it? I asked her, I said, Dr. Agatha, why? I heard this from a friend of mine who is a food scientist. And but I want to hear what Dr. Agatha had to say. And she said it's because of the superhybridization from 14 chromosomes now up to 42 chromosomes. Plus we're spraying it around up. Yes.
is that just in this country or is that in other countries too?
It's in any country that has our wheat. So when
Are we in this country? then?
our wheat, yes,
I'm thinking
like Russian.
Like gluten isn't a problem in Europe.
No, it's because it's illegal in Europe. When Mary and I were in Europe in March for 2 weeks, we could eat all the wheat we wanted to.
Right.
When I go to Africa, I can eat all the wheat I want to. But I do when I was talking with a fellow this morning who used to be the Minister of Health, Minister of Agriculture in Rwanda. And one day he was translating for me. And I have an opportunity to talk with their high food folks there. And every time I go, I tell them, do not do what we've done in America. And I was talking to the guy who's over their program for Rwanda, who determines the seeds that come into a country, determines the trees and plants that are imported into the country and what seeds they use. And I asked him, I said, what do you think about superhybridization? And also we're using Roundup. He goes, I think it's very interesting. Oh no, I said, do not do that. Do not do that to your country. It's just, don't do it. So as I've had a chance to talk to different folks there, and one time the ambassador was translating, well, he was an ambassador and he was also Minister of Agriculture. And he was translating for me. And I was teaching this group, which had, government folks there. And I said, Roundup, and he stopped and he said, are you using Roundup in America? Like, did I just hear that? And I said, yes. He said, we outlawed that in Rwanda years ago because it's poison. And so that's part of
Here.
I can't answer that. I don't know.
2 weeks.
How was yours? So the issue is in Europe, the EU, it's illegal to both super hybridize from 14 chromosomes and to use Roundup. So that's why we can go to some places. But Russia, no, we sold them so much wheat of ours. And my concern is it could be moving east, because when I was in Sweden just in March, they're talking about starting to have problems with gluten intolerance.
Right.
So I'm wondering if it's moving that direction. Yeah.
Can you import the European wheat?
We can you can go onto Amazon and look up Jovial, Jovial, Jovial wheat, and other wheats that are out of Europe. As long as it's out of Europe, you'll be okay.
Wow.
Yeah.
There's a, Valley, and they showed us a video of Santo going country to country
Yes.
and essentially reducing
With intent.
with intent to force farmers, even village farmers to
Yes.
use Monsanto.
And there's some people are going and burning the Monsanto fields up. Yes, you're exactly right. And so they have that cross pollination and they're destroying those countries. Yeah, it's wicked. It really is. And be careful when it says einkorn, because I've had 2 batches of einkorn that claim to be the low chromosome. And when I sent it off to be tested, it was 42 chromosomes. So it cross-pollinated over.
What did you call it?
Chromosomes.
No.
Einkorn, E-I-N,
Yeah, it's pretty in Europe.
yeah, so be careful with the einkorn because it used to be thought it was okay, but now it's starting to have some problems. So aloe vera, damage skin, treat wounds, reduce inflammation, itching, promote wound healing, redness, inflammation, psoriasis, frostbite. That's something that y'all deal with here.
I've had frostbite. I mean, people get out here,
I've never had the opportunity to work with frostbite. So I don't know.
There's some people I've seen during winters that are barefooted in this stuff, they walk with it. I've seen them walk barefooted in it.
Wow.
You come back when it snows.
Yeah.
Try it out.
Yeah, burns is excellent for burns. Jewelweed, poison ivy, poison oak, poison sumac, stinging nettle rash, eczema, and insect bites and stings are some of the things you can use jewelweed poultices for. Cabbage poultices, hemorrhoids, release pain, insect bites, burns, boils, varicose veins, speeds healing, draws out infection, bruises, lymphedema. Here, there's a warning on cabbage. I'll give you the warning on cabbage. I had a guy that flew in from London. He had extremely bad external hemorrhoids. They couldn't fix him over there, so he flew over to us. And we were getting excellent results. And we were using various things. One of the tools we used was cabbage poultice. One evening at 9 o'clock, he came and got me and said, can I get my cabbage poultice from you? And so I went to the dining room and to dietary, and they were out of green cabbage.
Oh.
And so they had a red cabbage. And so I would have been better to drive into town and get the green cabbage. Got the red cabbage. You beat it. It's called bruising it or making it bleed. Gave it to him. He applied it. He stained his underwear, his pajamas, the sheets, the blankets, the carpet.
So that's the nature.
That's the.
But it will work.
Oh, it's all stained where
Everything turned red.
No shout it out and take this stuff out.
It did not, yeah, it stained it. Yes, ma'am.
Back to the aloe vera,
Yes.
so you use the actual plants and cut it open and put that in.
Yes, so that's a good question. When doing the plant, I encourage folks to fillet it, not to use the outer green part because it's hard. It's
The gel part inside.
you want the gel part, yes.
And how long do you usually?
You can apply it, of course, depends on what you're using for burns. I'll just keep applying it. But you can put it on, you can leave it on overnight if you want to. Yeah.
And that would, you would do that for frostbite?
Oh, for frostbite, yes, just keep applying it on it. Yes, just keep it applied on it.
The cabbage and the potato are really nice if you're trying to do work with your neighbors. Because when you go in, you could see when we were in Venezuela, I went to someone's home, the lady had pain in her knee. And she had a cabbage just sitting out on her counter. So it was something, we made her up cabbage poultice, put it on. And it was really helped her pain.
Yes.
And so God will bless those little things that they have. So it's just nice little tools that most people have at home with the numbers.
To give an example of what Mary was saying, you can go into someone's house and they have pain, their knee pain. Do they have cabbage? Do they have cayenne? I was in Texas with an evangelistic series with ASI and went to a lady's house to have a Bible study. She says, I can't do it. My knee pain's just hurting too bad. I can't think. I said, well, do you have any cayenne pepper in the kitchen? She said, yes. And I said, do you have any hand cream? She said, yes. So went and got show me where the cayenne pepper was. She's sitting. She had so much pain. Show me where the bathroom. And so I got a little bowl and I squirted in some hand cream, put in some cayenne pepper, stirred it. And then I took it and applied it to the back of my hand, like you would, baby's milk to see if it's too hot or not. And if it was too hot, what do?
Cool.
More cream. If it wasn't hot enough,
Cayenne.
more cayenne. Yeah. Have you ever heard of arthritis cream called capsicum? And so I went and she put it on her knee and we were just talking about things. It may have been 15, 20 minutes. She goes, the pain's almost gone.
Nice.
She goes, that's great. She was so excited. I said, well, we prayed first that God would bless him. But then what do you think happened? We had Bible study.
Yeah.
So just as Mary went into the house, use something they have in hand and you can teach them how to do it. Yes, ma'am.
I have a friend that has a lot of pain, maybe varicose veins. She's growing a lot of cabbage. So how would you use that as a poultice for pain in her legs and varicose?
So what you do is you can either take the cabbage leaf and beat it, or you can put it in your Cuisinart and chop it up and just apply it to the area. The best thing I have found for varicose veins, number one is a mini trampoline. She's got one. Use a mini trampoline. The other is, help me out, Meredith.
That doesn't help.
Two herbs.
Horse chestnut.
Horse chestnut. Yep, thank you. Horse chestnut and butcher's root.
But what about pain? Pain.
Oh, you just apply it just straight on. Yeah, I have a friend, he's a doctor in West Tennessee. And he had a patient that was out in the woods, in the forest, and they had some cabbage and they had a fractured arm. And he used to put a cabbage poultice on there until they could get him in to the hospital and it addressed the pain.
How long does it take to work, though?
I would give it a good 15 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, it's not going to be like, like a narcotic, but it can help the pain.
Okay.
And then you can wrap it like with an ace bandage, around it, put some just wraps and then wrap it.
Yeah, put a sandwich bag around it to keep the moisture, then put a bandage around it. Yeah.
Thanks.
I have a question.
Yes.
Would you ever use a cabbage poultice for cancer since it's more?
Absolutely. You can use it
Would
for,
it be better to
That's my thing to eat it, isn't it? Then for tumors, is it
You can-
used for tumors?
folks still use it for tumors. But to answer your question, there are people who use it for tumors. I don't use it for tumors.
There's better things to use.
There's better things to use. Yes. It's better to drink. Yes. For the tumors, I'm going to use the Podiarco. I'm going to use the mullet. I'm going to use the calendula. I'm going to use the poke. Other tools I'm going to use. The charcoal poultice. I went to Michigan. There was a clinic up in Michigan that was using, I was up there with a physician up there that was using it. Learned from him, he was using it for breast cancer and lung cancer. And what we do is take a chuck, cut it open, and fill it full of charcoal poultice. Now he used ground flaxseed, which psyllium works a lot better. And we'll do that in just a little bit. And he lay it back over and put the chuck over the whole chest, and then make one for the whole back. And it stank the next morning. It stank really bad. Speaks healing, draws out infection, bruises. Headache, pulses, burns, boils, swelling, mastitis. I don't know so you can use the cabbage pulses for mastitis, but be careful. Again, the rule of thumb that I've read in numerous locations is don't go over 10 minutes. Do it 10 minutes at a time, or it can slow down milk production. I don't know. Have you ever heard that the potato poultice will slow down milk production?
No,
Have you ever heard it will slow down milk production? Yeah, I don't know of potato poultice doing that with mastitis. The inflammation, a sty. Now, on a sty, I had a guy who was retired optometrist, and he was also and retired MD also, and he just wanted to work, just do some work. So he came and volunteered and worked with him. And anytime we had a person come in with eye issues, I've learned from him. And it wasn't whatever eye issue a person had. The first thing he wanted to find out was how much water do you drink. He said water is so critical to any eye function. But for styes, what you do for a sty is first thing you do if it was a female, Unfortunately, you can't say that today, but, he would have them take their makeup off. No makeup.
Uh-huh.
And, would, he would have them take a toothbrush, go and get a brand new soft bristle toothbrush, and then get No More Tears baby shampoo. And he would make a little solution, dab it in there, and he would gently rub the area where the style was and just massage that with the No More Tears. You could use a charcoal poultice. Also, he said, if you can't get it, that when at his office, they had, when he was practicing, they had a little machine that could go and suck that area. And, but he said, first of all, you have to get rid of makeup. Then we did the massaging with the No More Tears. And, you can also put calendula. You could use charcoal.
Mild tea bags before.
That would be good. Yes, absolutely.
Like warm compress.
Yes, it's the warmth. He would put warm
Compress,
compresses, yes. That's something you can try. Spider bite, pardon?
Excuse me, I have a question. So poultice for sore muscles,
Yes,
is there?
you could do cabbage.
Okay.
You can do, anything that's warm.
Some capsicum would be great.
Pardon?
Some capsicum would be great. for you.
I need to see her out.
You need to sit here. Let's see here.
Turmeric is another one, ginger.
Yeah, turmeric, ginger,
Okay,
yeah.
that's great.
Let's see, inflammation, spider bites. You can use a potato poultice for spider bite. My favorite is a charcoal poultice. My daughter, I wasn't into this yet, and my daughter came up to me and she had this nasty wound on her calf. And I took her over to my neighbor, his retired doctor. And I said, Doc Monday, I said, what you put on this thing? He did natural. And he said, Virginia, get me a charcoal poultice. And she pulled it out of the freezer, thawed it out, and put it on there. And it was a brown recluse bite.
Oh, my.
She had no scar, none at all. And we've helped so many people with recluse bites by just using two things. Charcoal poultice and what?
Prayer.
Yes, prayer. And we took the charcoal and she did drink it, also drank. Yeah. Yeah, brown recluse. It helped many people with recluse bites.
Spider.
She had taken it out of the freezer, so,
She probably steamed it like in a,
She stuck it in the microwave.
did she?
Yeah.
right, so you could store it.
Oh, yeah, you can freeze charcoal poultice for years.
Oh, wow.
You just pull it and,
And it's, yeah, it's right here.
yeah. See, we got rid of our microwaves when we found it was bad for food.
He's going to.
Because actually microwaves kill more nutrients to deep fry.
Oh, my.
Yeah. So I got rid of it. And then I go, wait a minute, what am I gonna use for? I can go buy me another.
Actually, where were you? The tongs and the dip?
Yeah.
Is that?
Yeah, it does. And I've done the tongs and that gets over quick.
Yeah, you're right.
So the microwave is a whole lot easier.
Sure, yeah.
The charcoal, is this what kind of charcoal? The biscuits? The biscuit charcoal?
Oh,
Let's go get scrape one out and chark it up.
No, just go buy it from your health food store. Activated charcoal.
Oh, activate from the.
Activated charcoal from your health food store. Don't use what's at the that you do for cooking,
Oh,
because that has
Barbecue.
like lighter fluid in it.
Yeah.
okay, yeah.
You don't want that stuff. Yeah. Infections, ear infections. The best thing I have found for an ear infection is this guy right here. Golden seal. So what you do, you take a teaspoon, now this is not a teaspoon, but you take a teaspoon, you fill it 75% full of olive oil.
Oh,
You sprinkle in, probably about a third to half of a capsule worth of golden seal. mix it in, so you have the highest viscosity, but yet it still drips. And then what you do is you can warm it up over a candle or over a light bulb. But what you'll do is you'll put 3 drops. Now you can take either a medicine dropper, you can take like a butter knife.
Oh.
And you drop 3 drops in the ear. If it's an adult, if it's a young child or infant, you do 2 drops. And you rub it like you rub something down in a dog's ear, rub it down in there. And then those hot packs that y'all use. They like 14 hours or whatever, keep your hands warm, put that on there. And then you put what do y'all, we call them boggins, y'all call them something else up here.
Beanies.
Beanie, put a beanie on there and that'll hold it there. And then every 2 hours, put another 3 drops or 2 drops respective of age. And it will wipe out an ear infection extremely fast.
And what do you call it? That'll be.
A boggin. Boggin or boggin.
Oh.
Boggin, something else. Y'all reach close. That's an education of itself.
But,
Some people put sweet oil and then do an air candle.
right.
My youngest son, my oldest son, Walter, when he was 3, he was having terrible ear infections. And they were going to put tubes in his ears. And my mom sent me 4 ear candles. And I'm like, no way. We learned things with patients' ears. And but you know how moms can nag? So she kept nagging me. And so I said, I gotta tell her something, you know, and something that she'll buy. And so the audiologist worked for me. And I was friends with a pediatrician. And I asked the 2 guys, I said, what do you think about this? Just tell me no. That's all I need. Just tell me no. Hang on. No, it's trap. We've heard about that. Wait. And this is how sometimes you're so brainwashed. Guess where I did the ear candle? Tricia's office. Sure it's done right, you know?
Yeah.
Observed and it's crazy. And so did the ear candle and we didn't have to put tubes in chairs.
Wow, praise God.
Yeah. And then I had a cocker spaniel that had real problems with infections in there. And when she's asleep at night, I'd start ear candle in her ear and I didn't have to take her to the vet anymore. Yeah, clean them right.
Wax or what
Candles can work for infection.
what is it? Wax or drop in the wax?
No, or what happens is it works like an Venturi effect or a reductor. And we learned that from the Native Americans. So we learned it from.
Well, I know some people like roll up knitting paper or something, light it.
Yeah.
But what's with your hand or something?
Same thing. That's what it is.
Or you just heat it, using that for heat.
But it draws out like an inductor
The
or
wax.
Venturi effect. Well, it can pull things out, but also if there's infection, it helps with the infection. Yes.
Really desperate and you don't have any ear oil, like, you know. Take a clove of garlic and you can split it, not too small, but you could stick a part of that down in your ear and it'll do the same thing. But if you cut it too small, by the time it morning is dry and shrivel up and it'll fall down your ear canal. And if you go to the doctor, they just kind of like you like really. But it does work.
Pull it out.
Sounds like.
It does. It sure does. Really good. It just dries out. You don't have to get it out. That's why you don't want it too thick because it can get real. It's not, you don't want it that thick.
No ear lavage.
Yes.
I'm confused about the use of the microwave.
Yes.
Because I understand that to use the microwave for food, it changes the molecular structure of the food.
Right.
So how does it impact the herbs if you have a poultice?
That's a good question. So I don't put herbs in there.
Oh, okay.
I'll put like, the only thing I'll put hydrotherapy which is a towel that's soaked with warm water to make it hot. Or I'll use a charcoal poultice, which the charcoal poultice, it doesn't affect the charcoal.
Okay.
But I would not, I agree with you, I would not put the herbs in.
Oh, okay.
Good question. Thank you for clarifying.
Well, thank you.
Can we put them on a pan, cook it? No, you can put it in the
Put it
microwave,
in-
back to the microwave, no food there, because I put my vegetarian stuff, meats, everything, on the road. So it's better on stove,
Yeah.
in the microwave.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely. Failures here and hemorrhoids, you can do a potato poultice for hemorrhoids also. And so for the hemorrhoids, for potato poultice, you can also do a potato internally you can use for internal hemorrhoids. You can do a suppository, a potato suppository. Remember where it's going, how big you make it. And so you can make it, the size of a suppository, put a little lubricant on it. And then the next time you have a bowel movement, you're going to evacuate it. You can take aloe vera and do the same thing for internal hemorrhoids. And you carve a little, out of the gel part, you can carve a little suppository, put it on a toothpick. You don't have to, but you can put it on a toothpick. Put it in the freezer and freeze it. Then take it out, pull the toothpick off, and then you put a little lubricant and put it in. It's best to do this when you're asleep, laying down, because gravity takes effect. And so it's better to lay down so you don't lose it faster than you need to. And, or you can take gloves, like a small, exam gloves, and you pour aloe vera gel in there, or aloe vera juice in there, and freeze that area. Again, remember where it's going, don't make it too big. And then freeze that and get it off, and then you're gonna apply that and it will melt. Again, do that at night, not daytime. And that's for internal. Holes, draw the toxins from the body. You can grate up a carrot, put it on there. Sore throats, you can put it around the throat. Use colds, flus, tonsillitis, bronchitis, swollen glands, cleansing of the lymph, grabbing lymph issues, wounds, or burns. God's just giving us all kinds of stuff. Boils, abscesses, chapped skin, cold sores, eczema. Bruce, I like analyzing for cold sores. Muscle problems, there's your muscle. Torn tendons and ligaments, reduces pain, also swelling. Who thought your carrot had all that in there?
What was the first carrot side? That one.
There you go.
Thank you.
That's spitballs. Identify the need, determine which herbs you're going to use, examine how much you're going to need, and chew up a leaf or two. Now, I mentioned the number one spit poultice in the world is the
Plantain.
plantain. But what do you think in the deep south, the number one poultice used to be?
Tobacco, probably, yeah.
Pardon? Back. Tobacco poultice. That is the number one spit poultice for stings, bites, that kind of thing. You can either take a piece of tobacco, like a chewing tobacco, we call that a chop. And someone would chew it up, break it off and put it on there. Or you could take a cigarette, and this is what I grew up doing. I never smoked. Our family never used tobacco, but we would use a tobacco poultice for if we were out somewhere and someone, we got stung by a hornet or a wasp. Find somebody with a cigarette, can I borrow a little piece of your cigarette? And everybody takes care of everybody. And sure, break off a piece of their cigarette and give it to you. And you just open it up, put it in your hand, spit it, mix it up, put it on the sting. It was great. Especially wasps and hornets. That's the ones that really hurt bad. And so that's a spit poultice. Spit it out, place it on the affected area, secure with a bandage. Warning, it may not taste good. Yeah. Jewelweed spit poultice, poison ivy, poison oak, poison sumac, stinging nail, eczema, insect stings and bites. So you can use jewelweed. plantain, spider bites, bee or wasp stings, insect bites, animal bites, snake bites, and tick bites. Plantain is excellent for snake bites. Your rattlesnake, your copperhead, y'all have those here?
No snakes in Alaska.
Pardon? Yeah. It's full clown. I did that last week. I chew it up and then just spit it out, and put it right on the infected area. And it doesn't taste the best. If you have like a copperhead bite, you can put the arm in cool water to start with, in a spray or in cool water, causes vasoconstriction. You don't want hot water, it'll have vasodilation. And then you can put plantain poultice on it, you can put charcoal poultice on it, you can drink charcoal, and do not try sucking it out.
Oh, okay.
That's the old way, don't want to do that, that can kill you.
Yeah.
Leaf of life. Does that grow? Does that grow, Corinne? It grows in the Caribbean, I know. It's amazing, amazing plant. And all you have to do is call somebody in Jamaica or Trinidad or Tobago or wherever, ask them to get a leaf, get a wet paper towel, put the leaf in it, and put it around the base of it, put it in a Ziploc baggie, mail it to you. When you get it, you get some soil, stick the leaf in it, and it will grow. Isn't that cool? They use it for insect bites, bruises, mastitis, wounds, skin ulcers, sprain. They use it for all kinds of stuff. Yeah, they'll take it and they will juice it. They'll juice the leaves. But that's a big herb down in the Caribbean. Hot herbal poultices. One can use a hot poultice for relaxing spasms, relieving pain, drawing blood to the skin surface, increasing circulation, pulling impurities to the surface, relieving congestion. Identify the need. So there's a system here. Identify the need. What's the problem? Determine which herbs you're going to use. Estimate how much you're going to need. Apply it. Secure with a bandage. One can apply a hot water bottle or heating pad over the poultice. Like that would be like if you did a pastoral pack. You put a hot water that causes vasodilation, so you're going to have better absorption with vasodilation. Place the poultice as it cools, replace the poultice as it cools, and repeat as needed. This is a hot poultice. Herbs can be added into a large muslin bag and added to a bath, kind of like you were talking about with the oatmeal. That's how a lot of folks do the oatmeal baths. A mullein leaf hot poultice, cancer tumors. Again, remember, warn the patient, it's going to itch. It's not nothing. Reduce the swelling. Reduce pain, sprains, bruises, rheumatic pains, swollen glands, inflammation, hemorrhoids. Mullein, again, is the best herb for what organ?
Lungs.
The lungs. Yeah, it's phenomenal for the lungs. Also for lungs, I think we have. No. I had a surgeon teach me this, and then Dr. Agatha also confirmed it. Mullein is good to replace albuterol, but the best thing to replace albuterol is you get a nebulizer. Y'all know what a nebulizer is. And get a nebulizer, fill it with distilled water, and then you're going to put 4 drops of eucalyptus essential oil on the new nebulizers. They have to have some type of mineralization to cause electrolysis to take place. And so the distilled water doesn't have minerals in it. The eucalyptus oil is so pure, it may not work. So what you do is you take like 1 grain of like your Celtic salt, and that's enough to make the electrolysis work. Or if you have some liquid trace minerals, put 1 drop in there. And we've used this now for in place of albuterol over 20 years.
Wow.
It was great during the situation over the last 2 years, 3 years, people would use it. Excellent for that breathing issue. Yeah. Poke. Poke ulcers can be skin ulcers. Sores or infected breast. That's skin rashes, fungal infections, breast cancer, uterine cancer, acne. It's a good blood purifier, so or good for because acne is a blood issue. Scabies.
Oh, man.
In ringworm. Scabies a problem up here?
Me, can be.
There can be. There's some essential oils that look really good. How many of y'all have that book that we talked about? Have you got it?
Which book?
Natural Remedies Encyclopedia? You got it?
Who wrote it?
So on around page 331, somewhere in there, I think it is. Go to scabies and go down about 80% of the way down. And there is 5 or 6 essential oils. That is the best thing I have found for scabies. Blend those together and apply it immediately. Or you can apply it with a carrier oil. And I've used that for probably 19 years now for scabies, and it works very, very well for scabies. So that's a great book to get. And we're
Elamite too, they buy like Elamite soap. Elamite.
Scabies, is that good? Okay.
Sprinkle this soap that it's
Yeah.
everywhere.
It's good for ringworm. Also for ringworm, you can do tea tree. You can do oil of oregano. Another one that will work for ringworm that I've used. You cannot use it on a child. But what you do is if it's in an area that is not too sensitive, let's say an arm, you could use it on. And you can have ringworm and you can take a blow dryer and go to the area until it's hot, come back off, back, come back on it, come back off. And literally you can get rid of ringworm by using a blow dryer. I've done it before, it works. But the tea tree, yes.
Is ringworm actually a worm?
No, it looks like.
It's not a worm, it's
Yeah.
it's
Is it?
It's like. Fungus, I think,
Yeah. Let's get the exact word.
It's not a worm, but it's
No.
Fungus.
Yeah.
watch out for turtles. Turtles,
Oh,
get rid of it.
have what?
Don't have turtles, they're so infectious, they can. Dirty stain, if you have a pet. Don't touch them.
So turtles, we can get ringworm from turtles.
Yeah, yeah. It's not, they're so fungal. I mean, they don't, they call it turtles that they have them for pets. And I was at my cousin's place and he has 2 turtles and
Also ones that live in water? Oh, I knew so many years ago that.
no, not the one that live in water, it's just dry. It gives them, it's like. All of a sudden I have a ringworm and going, that's a worm. It wasn't a worm, I mean, it's. The only thing I could relate to was that turtle.
So it's a bug.
It's a bug.
And so it's antifungal. Garlic is antifungal.
And tea tree.
Yes, tea tree is antifungal. Yeah.
That's
So you just want to use an antifungal.
I like the blood dryer effect. It's a good one.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
I didn't know if you wanted to.
Yeah. 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 Thank you. You got cold poultices. One can use a cold poultice for reducing inflammation, swelling, soothing excess heat, like a potato poultice. That can be like a potato poultice. You've got mustard whole poultices. Who's ever done a mustard poultice? A mustard poultice, you take 1 part mustard, 3 part flour, use whole wheat. The white wheat is a lot gummier. And so 1 part mustard, 3 parts whole wheat flour, mix it together thoroughly, add enough water to make it the consistency of pancake batter. Put a piece of saran wrap, put it on there, put another piece of saran wrap, roll it out to 1/8 of an inch thick, pull it back. A mustard poultice, you can use over and over and over. It's the ground, thank you, it's the ground mustard seeds.
Not the yellow bottle at Walmart for hot dogs, that one.
Would you
No, not that.
prefer to use gluten-free flour
Yes,
with that?
that's a good idea. Gluten-free flour. Yes, that's a good idea.
Okay.
And no, it's not the mustard you buy in the store.
No, it's the
Yes.
spice.
That's interesting. This, someone I know in the church, not in the family, but, takes a teaspoon of mustard from the store to, back the cramping.
Yeah. Yeah. So 75% of leg cramps is due to magnesium deficiency.
Okay,
Number 2 is dehydration. Number 3 is potassium deficiency, and number 4 is iron deficiency.
okay.
So I'm wondering what the mustard's doing.
Magnesium.
But 75% is just magnesium deficiency. And the reason is stress is the number 1 diagnosis. Stress, with stress, adrenaline goes up. To address the adrenaline, God put a fire extinguisher in us. And so it dumps magnesium to buffer the cells, protect them from the harmful effects of the adrenaline. So if you're a stressed person or type A personality, or dreaming a lot of bad stuff, then you're dumping magnesium constantly. Also, if you're taking calcium, and the doctor tells you to take calcium, but he doesn't tell you to take magnesium with it, you're dumping more, you're getting rid of more magnesium to break the calcium down.
Yeah.
A lot of people are magnesium deficient. It's estimated that 85% of the American population are magnesium deficient. And again, as we said yesterday, don't trust your magnesium serum level. That is not accurate. You want to go to the RBC. That's a lot more accurate. So that's interesting. That's good to know. 1 teaspoon a day.
Well, that's what she said.
Yeah, good.
I read recently that it's been clinically shown that you can absorb magnesium through Epsom salt. So Epsom salt that's increase your
You
magnesium.
can. You're exactly right. Epsom salt is magnesium. Yeah.
Cramping must,
So bad.
I overdo continually, so. Blood low and electrolytes and everything else. But the one relief that I could do is, cider vinegar.
Cider vinegar.
Under the tongue. It gives you, there is one old guy, he was fishing and he went over the rocks and he couldn't get back up. His leg was cramping and he was like in panic because tide was coming in and I told him, hey, if you want to try something, I gave him a couple of teaspoons of vinegar and we put under his tongue and then he felt better and goes, wait, have another one.
Just have it with you.
Yeah, I always have it with me because I always overdo stuff and I cramp up.
Oh, gotcha.
And I gave him a couple more and to his shock, he could climb up that rock without any.
You saved his life.
He did because
So wash vinegar. I grew up with vinegar on the table. In the South, we grew up with vinegar. On the
yeah,
table.
it started vinegar with the mother on.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
we used it on our greens. On our greens.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yes.
But you have to be cautious. Vinegar has a lot of good benefits, but it can damage the mucosa. And so you have to be cautious. Something you could try in the stomach, but something you could try and may have as good a success is coconut water.
Oh, wow.
Oh, yeah.
Coconut water is phenomenal for
Coconut
Yeah, it
water
is, but
it's high in potassium. So let's do a couple things here.
Let's think about magnesium because there are so many forms of it.
Right.
How do you know what's best for me?
Depends on what you're needing it for. Let's say that you've got dementia. Then you want it's Magteam's the brand, but it's what's the other name besides Mag? No, 19, I guess. Magteam is what you're looking for. Magnesium can be like a rifle, like the Magteam, or it can be like a shotgun, like the citrate. So just depending on, there's a bunch of different ones. So you want some, and some magnesiums are more absorbable and some are not. And so you just go and check out the magnesiums and look what you're wanting it for to determine which one. The one I like is a go-to is citrate. It's just it has excellent absorbability. It's wide spectrum. You can use it for a lot of things. And, but if you're needing more specific, you can go to specific magnesium. Some people like the glycinate, some people like different ones.
It makes you sleepy.
It does, yeah. It can help a person sleep. It's great for the bowels. If you're having problems with constipation, number one, drink water, eat your fiber, get your exercise, eat the same time every day, and don't ignore, the need. But if my first step is going to be magnesium. Magnesium is huge. Go to bowel tolerance. Whatever it takes to get your bowels loose and come to bowel tolerance. That's an excellent source to address with constipation. So let's do a few poultices here. It's so easy just to talk all day and share all day, but we don't have all day to do it. So let's do charcoal poultices. So let's see here. You want to do charcoal poultice? Come on, let's go. I need water. So a charcoal poultice.
I know, but what are we doing it for?
You might have a brown or blue spot.
No, but I got a bump on my head. No.
I just need to make a very
Yes.
key announcement.
Yes.
Because I'm raising, I had something else scheduled months ago for this afternoon.
Uh-huh.
So I won't be here for lunch. And there are a few more people than I had originally thought would come. So when you go through the lunch line, please don't take some of everything. Pick one. And then just, if there's some left over after everybody's through, you can go back and get more. I just am being bossy and encouraging you, especially those of you in the front of the line, to just take one vegan cheese slice or, just one vegan deli slice because you're having sandwiches. Okay, great.
Thank you, Dan.
Thank you.
So you're making a charcoal poultice. It could be breast cancer. It could be for lung cancer. It could be for liver cancer. It could be you have an infected eye.
Okay.
It could be that you have an infected food. And I'll show you how to tear it apart, like you put a piece of factory.
Okay.
And so here's the tough part. It's one part, 6 parts. So the 1 part charcoal, 1 part psyllium powder, 6 parts water.
Okay.
So if you want it to be on that part, can you heat water? So you can't heat the other items. So it has to be a level.
Gotcha.
Does that make sense?
Okay.
Okay, so let's do the psyllium first because the black will get in here if we do the charcoal first.
Let's not do that.
Okay, so we're gonna do we're gonna psyllium first. I need 1 level spoon of psyllium powder.
Am I using this one?
That'll work.
Preference over for the psyllium powder versus slippery elm.
Say that again?
On this, no, that I know.
Okay, I was just curious.
It's both will bind.
Yeah.
But for the poultice, I think cost wise, yeah, go psyllium, it's cheaper than slippery elm.
Okay.
Slippery elm's expensive. Then, so you just.
That's
Okay,
easy.
so here, you don't want it, and then just
Oh,
scrape it out. That way, because if you get it wrong, it may not
Use
bind.
the handle to scrape it.
It's not as much as the 1-to-1 charcoal to psyllium, it's the water issue. And when you make it with
So smart.
ground flaxseed, you can add extra water. Yes, ma'am. But when you use the psyllium, you can't add extra. Once it's done, it's done, like doing an epoxy. Okay, now we're gonna do 1 level. And this guy's a little more messy. Activated charcoal.
it's a lot.
Yeah. Now, usually I'll do 1/4 of a, actually, when I make it at work, I'm making a half a cup, of each at a time. And I'll show you why.
Don't sneeze.
Job. Then we're gonna do 6 parts water. Now, depending on the psyllium that you have, there's different psylliums. But psyllium, it might be 5 parts, 5.5, or 6. But we're safer right now at 6, because if it was too dry, then you can't add to it. And if it's a little wet, it's fine. So next thing is you don't want it watering yet.
No, I'm not gonna touch it.
What you want to do is you want to stir it until there's no black and no tan.
Okay.
You want it gray. If you don't, if you put it in now, the psyllium will congeal and the charcoal won't.
Yeah.
And then it's a mess. So just keep stirring until it's gray.
Then what?
So the psyllium, what did the psyllium?
It congeals.
Okay.
Can you tell us
Thank you, doctor.
how to make?
See, sir. Thank you.
I bought some things. I'm
All right.
We don't accidentally tap somebody with the.
Okay, so if you have a bowl that is not open, you can apply it straight. If you, because the skin's not open, if you have breast cancer and it's not an open wound, it's not going to tattoo. If you have lung cancer, if you, wherever you want to put it, if you have a brown and flu spot, it's probably open. And so you'll just put a wet paper towel between it, or now in Venezuela, Colombia, they don't have paper towels, so they just use just a wet sheet, and they'll use them over and over and over again.
How's that?
That looks good.
Thank you.
Now, let's do this. We're going to put in here,
I see.
but it's got to be fast.
Okay.
You want 6 teaspoons, or I mean 6 parts, 6 parts.
Tablespoons. 3.
Dos. 3.
4. No, that's 5 of these.
Yeah. Yes.
Oh, seriously?
And that's
There's 6.
there you go. And you don't have to stir the water. Okay, now, pour the water in here.
I get the special.
You just pour it in and start stirring. And
So you
just,
don't want to start as.
no, you just want to pour it in.
On board.
Now, she's gonna think it's plumb crazy. There is way too much water. Okay, go ahead and start stirring. Stirring real good, like you're stirring, like you're doing the eggs. It's stirred through good, yeah. Doesn't look like too much water. That's great.
Yeah.
Keep stirring.
I'm a dainty woman. No, I don't want to splatter. Do that in a Ziploc bag.
You can. You put it in a Ziploc bag, shake it up, move it around. Yeah, just keep going.
Wow. Shazam.
One of those big mirrors.
Reminds me of when I was a kid, I made, mud pies.
Normally it would be thicker by now, so this cylinder could be more like a 5 or 5.5.
Stirring fast enough?
Yeah.
Now it's getting floppy. Wow. Okay, my arm is getting tired.
There you go.
Yes.
How long does it store in the fridge for?
Pardon?
How long does it store in the fridge?
Good question. It'll store in the fridge about 5 days. You know how when grandma made bread, and you didn't eat it fast enough, it'd mold, it's still in a mold.
Oh, wow.
But what you do, I usually make either a half cup at a time of each or a cup of each. And then, so I have a big piece like making biscuits. And then you just use what you need, cut what you need that will last in the refrigerator, put that in the fridge. The other part, roll it up, put it in the freezer. Then you can pull it out. And that way you're on that.
It's a taste.
Yeah. So see how much we have here? Okay, now. This is the hardest part about it.
Okay.
Yeah, this is the hardest part. Okay, I'll let you figure it out. Okay, so I need a piece of saran wrap about this big. Problem with saran wrap is a stick spaghetti.
Hey,
Okay, there you go, that's good.
all straight and perfect. So it takes two of us to make sure that happens.
Yeah, I like neat, nice.
You use flaxseed instead of.
Yes, you can. I used flaxseed for years. And then I hired this therapist out of Sweden. Switzerland. And they used the
Here it is.
psyllium. The psyllium, it costs more. Psyllium. P is in Paul, like pneumonia, it's silent. Psyllium is Psyllium. Yes, sir.
Oh.
And so what the advantage of the psyllium. See how that is? You're hired. That is very beneficial when it's like that. Okay, now that be better. Oh, great, excellent, thank you, sir. Here we go.
Wow, that is really cool.
So.
So what are we gonna fix on her?
Pardon?
So what are we gonna fix?
Oh,
No requests, okay?
so then.
Pretty sure I heard about it.
Then you're gonna smash it down to 1/4 of an inch and kind of roll it out. Okay, oh, that's right, yeah, and that works fine. You got it, 1/4 inch, there you go.
Okay, is that good?
Now, that's good. Now, so then what I'll do is I'll take it like this
Ah,
and I put it in the refrigerator.
oh,
Or if we wanna put it on somebody, you can go ahead and do that. So then let's,
Make a big one.
yeah, so I usually make one that's about this big.
oh, okay.
And then that way the person can use it multiple times. If they have extra, then they can use more. But so what you want to do is you want to see how it's still kind of tacky here.
Sure.
If you wait about 15 minutes, it'll dry up. So then let's say you have an infection in your gum. You'll break off a little piece of this, about the size of this little dish right here.
Mhm.
Stick it in here like you would put a piece of tobacco in there. And that will draw that out. Have you ever seen those little tobacco patches? They have tobacco in it.
Oh.
They don't have that up here?
No.
They do.
Maybe.
They do. And so you stick that in there. And so now you have that charcoal poultice right against the gum. Leave it there for a couple hours, pull it out, put another one in there. And it will pull that infection right out of the gum. Works really well. It's easier to do. I used to do it with the flaxseed in a paper towel. This way I don't have to use a paper towel.
Oh.
Yeah. Yes. So it's just easier, and the paper towel can be quite messy sometimes.
So sure.
When this congeals, it's not as messy. That's why I like this better. It's just less messy. Isn't that cool?
But you can use a combination of flaxseed and a little bit of psyllium
They go along.
and still get a good result, but it'll stretch your psyllium because the flaxseed is cheaper.
Okay.
Or availability. So then what I'll do is I just roll it up like a Swiss roll. And then you can put it in the refrigerator, or you can put it in the freezer. And if you put it in the freezer, then you put it in a Ziploc bag,
Okay.
and then it's good for however long.
Do you want her to just let people see it?
Oh, you want to send it around like folks, No. you can put it- Okay. So let's see here.
To see if you feel it a little bit.
Yeah,
You could only.
yeah, it's a little tacky still.
It's a little bit, but you still can.
Yeah, another one. Did you get like okay, thank you.
What is that?
This is castor oil.
Oh, it's castor.
Who's ever drank castor oil? But
Not drinking.
Drinking.
yeah, when we were kids, if you were constipated, you drank castor oil. It's nasty. I really used to. I mean, I mean. Oh, great, thanks. So let's do a, thank you, sir. So let's say that we want a castor oil pack. You can take, and I'm using this as an illustration, I would not use this. But I'm taking a paper towel and folding it multiple times. And pretend it's a cloth. You can use flannel. You just want something that wicks well. You can use a man's white t-shirt, an old t-shirt, and cut it and fold it several times. Let's say that you have shingles. You have shingles across here. So what you're going to do is you're going to take your piece of cloth that's that size. Then you can take castor oil, and I like to warm it up first. You can actually put it in a pot and dab this in there, but then it's a little messy. But then you can pour this onto your material, nice, and then you apply that to the affected area. Then take some saran wrap, put it on here. Some people wrap the whole trunk. I don't like that because I like the trunk to breathe. Skin needs to breathe. And so you can put it here, and then you can wrap it with an ace bandage.
Just castor
And apply it on there. And that's how you put a castor oil pack on this.
Just castor oil.
Now, if the person has breast cancer or breast cysts on one breast, it is recommended to have symmetry both breasts. One for effect, the other for symmetry and look. But for effect, it's Dr. George Fletch has found that he did best if both breasts were both covered with the charcoal poultice or the castor oil pack. Or if let's say I don't have them here, but he used lavender and frankincense, apply it to both breasts for breast cancer 3 times a day. And Fletch's research, he found that lavender, he found this in the National Institute of Health, he found that lavender, the chemical in here that makes it work for lavender is very similar, if not the same, as the chemical used in chemotherapy for breast cancer. Pretty cool. In a natural state. Yeah. So that's how you would do a castor oil pack. Now, a castor oil pack, you can also put a heating pad on it, hot water bottle on it, wherever it is. Let's say you've got knee pain and arthritis. You can put a castor oil pack on there. Let's say you have ovarian cysts. Excellent tool to use for ovarian cysts. If you have fibroids, castor oil pack is great. Fibroids, you also want to address the estrogen. Fibroids are usually an estrogen channel. And that's where you use the wild yam cream. You use the stinging nettle, and if you want to use the flaxseed, that's another good thing. And so we do that for the fibroids. Let's see here. Let's do another one. We can do it on this one. Let's say that we want to do a. Let's see. She's not. I don't see the cayenne pepper. I may not have. So let's say you want to make a cayenne pepper poultice. It's real simple. You can either take a piece of cloth, or you can take a piece of, just a piece of paper towel. And you can take, we'll pretend this is olive oil. And you can just drizzle your olive oil onto your paper towel or your piece of cloth. Take your cayenne pepper, sprinkle it on there, and then apply it to the affected area. Let's say your feet are cold at night. Put it on your feet, put a sock on top, and it will warm you up. It will, it'll warm the body. You can, let's say you're having pain. You could apply that to the area of pain. The cayenne pepper. Again, remember, cayenne pepper has different heating units. What you buy at the store is usually 20,000 HUs. I usually use somewhere between 100 and 200,000. If you went to down where I live in Pigeon Forge and went to the Pepper Palace, they've got California, they have Carolina Reaper, which is 3.1 million. Yeah, the Chinese claim they have one now that's over 4 million HUs. So be careful.
Can use bear
one
spray.
that's too.
10 million.
Can you use another kind of oil like olive oil or?
Absolutely. Yeah, I use olive oil usually, but you can use another, you can use, you could use like avocado oil or coconut oil. Yeah, I like using fractionated coconut oil. Yeah, it's a great thing. Fractionated coconut oil is my favorite carrier oil. It's good for driving, and so that will help the cayenne. So coconut oil would be excellent. Yeah, and I use the grapeseed oil. So
On the pepper one, did you use any other kind of pepper or just how high it is, like habanero or something?
yeah, just any of your hot ones, any of your hot peppers. Yeah,
Habanero.
yeah, just any of them ain't gonna hurt you. Yeah, so you don't want it too hot that it's gonna hurt you. So whatever's gonna be calm enough on you, that's not gonna hurt you. Because you don't want to hurt the person. Yeah. If that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. When I make I do a salve that's really good for wounds. Let me show you. This is really cool. This is fun stuff. I like wound care. So this is a guy.
Just.
Squeamish people don't look.
Yeah.
This is a one that this fellow has diabetes. He also has osteomyelitis. They were getting ready to amputate his foot. And his endocrinologist called me and she said, Walt, I'd like to save this foot. Is there anything we can do? So what's his root issue?
Diabetes.
Yeah, he's got diabetes, got to get rid of the diabetes. So we juiced him for 30 days. 16 ounces for breakfast, 16 ounces for dinner, 16 ounces for supper. He also has osteomyelitis. And what's osteomyelitis? Bone infection. Is that serious? Yes, it is. So we use the Alimed, which is this.
Oh, yeah, it's liquid.
It's frozen.
Oh.
So it's milk. So we keep it frozen. So we use the Alimed, and we did 1 teaspoon twice a day, because Alimed is antibacterial, antiviral, antifungal, antimicrobial, antiparasitic. It's phenomenal, and it's also excellent for cardiac, for low cholesterol. It's great for blood pressure. It takes 24 cloves of garlic to make 1 drop of this. So we gave him 1 teaspoon twice a day, PO by mouth, and put it in water. And then that's what we did for nutrition. through oral. And then to address here, we did hydrotherapy. And people say, well, you cannot do hot and cold on that. No, you can't do hot and cold. But what can you do? You can do warm and cool. So we did 100 degrees warm. We did 70 degrees cold. So because you need your contrast, vasodilation, vasoconstriction, vasodilation, vasoconstriction. So we did 3 minutes warm, 1 minute cool, 3 minutes warm, 1 minute cool, 7 times. Then we went and we put sprayed the Alimed on there because again, he's got osteomyelitis. So we just sprayed this whole area in here really good with the Alimed. Then we made a salve out of gold seal, myrrh. I don't have any frankincense, pine sap, and aloe vera. So it's 1 part golden seal, 1 part myrrh, 1 part frankincense. Mix it thoroughly. And then, based on availability, a half to a part of pine sap. If you have B propolis, you can put B propolis in. And then you can put slippery elm. I just don't like the consistency of a slippery elm. Slippery elm is excellent for healing wounds. It's just too pasty for what I'm wanting here. And then I'll put about 1.5 to 2 parts aloe vera gel. So then you don't want to pack it like we used to. Remember how we used to do betadine brown sugar? You don't want to pack it. So what you want to do is you just kind of want to just pack it on there because you want it coming off 12 hours later. You want to slough it off. And so we put the salve in there, and then we put a charcoal poultice because he has osteomyelitis. Now, what did we first do?
You prayed.
We prayed. God will bless us. Every day, twice a day. So then in the evening, went back, did the hydrotherapy. We didn't want the salve too gummy, too pasty, because we wanted to slough off, because we wanted then to add more. So then that evening, we did the hydrotherapy again. How many minutes warm?
300.
100 degrees. How many minutes cool? 1. What's the temperature? 70. And then we sprayed it with the aloe vera, the Alimed, and then we put the paste back on, put the charcoal poultice, and then wrapped it, and then we went for night. So let me show you what happened. That's what we have. Take a look at this heel. Pay attention to what's going on with the heel. Looks like a shark took a bite out of it, doesn't it? This is fun, guys. This is so much fun. That's in 2 weeks.
Wow.
Look at our filling the heel. Look at the filling in the middle.
Skin and
That's 4 weeks.
oh,
Osteomyelitis is gone. No infection in the bones. It's now ready for a skin graft. Healing. We're totally closed right here. Isn't God cool?
Yeah.
We couldn't have done that when I worked in regular healthcare. It was, they were getting ready to amputate that thing. And so that's what we used this. The golden seal, the myrrh. See, golden seal is an antibacterial, antiviral. It heals really well. Myrrh is really good for healing. Frankincense is really good for healing. Pine sap is super good for healing, and also it kills pathogens. And the aloe vera is good for healing and kills pathogens. And so you just put those tools in combination, God gave us, and then the garlic killed the infection, both by mouth and topical.
So
Yes.
And I know it's not a herb, but the medical profession is using this too now for healing honey.
Oh, honey's great.
Honey, yeah.
Yes. And your
In
best
conjunction
honey.
with those heal.
Oh, absolutely you could.
Yeah.
Yeah. The best honey, supposedly, based on research, is Manuka.
Yeah.
And that's been approved by the FDA.
Yeah. Yeah. they're
But if you
using it
don't,
in
Manuka's
hospitals now.
expensive.
They're calling it meta honey.
Yes, they are. But if you don't have, just use your local honey. Honey.
Yeah.
It heals.
Honey.
Honey is great to heal. Yeah.
So did it heal all the way up, and did his diabetes go away too?
Sure.
Pardon?
You got another picture?
No.
Oh, okay.
The guy was down.
That's amazing.
Isn't that amazing?
How long did that take?
It took 30 days. Yeah, we couldn't have got that regular. He was down in Barbados.
Yeah.
And so all this was
Lost
done.
his foot.
Yeah, they were going to amputate it in Barbados. And so all this was done over the phone and by pictures at 2 weeks. cultures, different cultures. You can tell I'm different. I'm a different culture. The mountains. But at 2 weeks, the doctor called me and she says, "Walt, you need to talk to this patient." I said, "Why?" She says, "This is 2 weeks." She said he's walking around town barefoot.
Was he in a lot of pain?
No, he had
He
diabetes.
probably killed the nerves.
Oh.
So I said, "Yeah, let me talk to him." And so he gets on my phone. I said, "Sir, you can't be walking around that foot. You got an infection already. We're trying to heal it." I said, "Here's what I want you to do. You can go around town, but use your pair of crutches or something and keep your foot above your knee." I figured above the knee, at least he's gonna keep it off the ground. Again, just keep it off the ground. But I just said, keep it above the knee. And if he's halfway, that's fine. Just keep it off the ground. And he complied. Yeah. And notice his weight. Did he look like a diabetic?
No.
No, but remember, there's other causes of diabetes. What are those other causes? We got. Remember, we're learning, we're students, we're teaching. I'm a teacher. So, number one thing we look at type 2 diabetes is what? Weight. Number 2 is fat, where the insulin receptor is clogged with fat. So that could be fat from he eats things with a lot of oil, fried. It could be fat from dairy, fat from meat, or it can be the insulin receptor not work because of inflammation. So he could eat a lot of processed food. He could have a lot of sleep deprivation. He could have a lot of stress, something causing a lot of inflammation in his body. Any one of those 3 or a combination thereof can cause type 2 diabetes. And so it's not just, I mean, you're a perfect example. You could have diabetes and not be overweight. It could be you're eating too much fat or you have too much inflammation. Okay, let's see. What's our schedule? What do we do? Pardon? Don't worry.
Yeah. I think it was, lunch was supposed to be half hour ago. Right.
Yes. Okay. Let's cover that in a few minutes.
Okay,
So I think we were supposed to do lunch, I think, at 12, but it's 12:36.
Yeah, so y'all want to eat and come back in here and eat?
Be without that on.
With that, okay.
Without that on.
Show a different wound.
There we go.
Yeah, good.
That's
Good-
better.
good virus.
A good virus.
It's all the other night, that guy had his arm out, y'all.
Oh.
But fortunately, there was a nurse that he just passed. And she saw him wreck in front of her. And the arm was there and he kept going and the bike kept going and she jumped out. She's trying to figure out how to stop this bleed because he has nothing from here down. I mean, you couldn't even see the bone in the amputation or in the arm. I mean, it's just you. And so there's a FedEx driver. He says, "I got a rope." She says, "Great." And she did a perfect tourniquet right here with that rope. Worked fine.
That's the story you told yesterday, the guy.
On the motorcycle?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, I was telling her.
Arm.
Yeah. Always way up the road, motorcycle, way down the road, on
Perfect breed.
Somebody took the arm.
Pardon? Well, I bagged it up, put 3 things of ice in it, sent it on the helicopter.
Okay, so
I'll let.
They may have reattached it.
I'm just
Yeah.
kidding.
That's good.